Everybody, Jason Burmis here. And the next story that I'm going to go over is yet another reason why I keep telling people, number one, you have to be your own hero. Number two, it's not going to be easy. And number three, you are going to have to consistently get into people's faces in person, in my belief, and you are going to often have to wage lawfare against them. And the story that I just witnessed, as I'm going to play it to you, I wish I'd started filming earlier, but as many of you know, I have been going to some local Iowa meetings because this is about solutions to me. This is about us standing up to a very, very real and very, very damaging tyranny that is having effects on our lives, sure, but on our children's lives in a manner most people can't comprehend and are willfully and ignorantly not only allowing to happen, but encouraging to happen, okay? So that is problematic. It's more than problematic. And today I'm going to show you how you can help these two women. Okay, these two women right here, when you see their story, and you are going to see their story, it's a heartbreaker. I'm not going to be commenting on it. It runs for about 13 minutes. Again, I started filming in the very, very beginning of the first woman that spoke because I knew how powerful this was going to become, okay? And this is real trauma. So I'm going to be focusing on this episode to try and get my audience to not only go check out their Freedom Over Fear Unmask Facebook page, and if you can support them there, great. But forget about supporting me financially on this one, guys. I need you to support these women. And it is Freedom Over Fear. Let me repeat that. Freedom Over Fear, all one word, at Venmo. And after watching this, I would hope that either, especially if you are in the area of Ankeny, Iowa, okay, this is right outside of Des Moines. This is where this is going to be taking place. It's tomorrow afternoon, I believe, at 5 or 6 p.m. They said it would be over by 7, so 5 to be safe. And it is 306 Southwest School, St. Ankeny, Iowa. Okay? I want to get that out there for the audience because these women 100% deserve our support. And I'm sorry for the poor audio, and there's children in the background. But this meeting was really good in the sense that, you know, there had to be over 60 people there. And, you know, people asking the right questions in some cases, maybe coming to their first meeting. And the sheriff showed up. You know, I've shown everybody the sheriff's statement where he said that they would not be enforcing the mask mandate through lawfare, through, you know, arresting people in Scott County where I live. Now, that's all well and good, but I was given the opportunity to ask the gentleman a question, and I keep asking him and others, how do we get our politicians back in person? And this is extremely important. You know, one of the most effective things that these people have been doing is going to their school board meetings and taking them over, and those videos going viral, and those people at least visually having to be accountable. But you've got to believe that a lot of these people don't want telepolitics to go away, and many of these things, remember when we were in the heat of it, they were still meeting in person, but now they're not. And they're making it difficult for you to confront them. And when you see how difficult it was for these women to confront even their school boards, and that's what they're going to be doing again, it's disturbing, it's disgusting. These women need your help. Okay, so I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to start playing this, and then I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to let you watch this for yourself, and hopefully you're going to realize why this is an important subject. And we're going to have them on after the meeting tomorrow night, too. So whenever they're available after this, they're going to give us an update on what happens. But what's already happened to their children, It angers me. Let me just say that. It should anger anybody who watches this. So thumbs the video up, subscribe, share. Remember to Rockfin. As this video can't go viral because if it did, YouTube would take it down. That's just a fact. Let's continue.
I knew he was against me from the beginning. So I thought, okay, I'll do a religious exemption. So I signed a religious exemption and I turned it in. And what they did to my daughter is despicable. They made her wear a shield. They told her you do not go within 6 feet distance of any person in the building. Her associate was made to sit on the other side of the plexiglass, like a prison. You know how you go to the prison and you put your hand up against the glass? That's how she was taught every single day. She was stigmatized. She also had to have that plexiglass 24/7 on her desk and move 6 feet away from everyone. And she would come home and she would tell me how she felt every day, and I thought, this isn't right. What do I do? What can I do? And that's when we got to go to this conference. And so at the conference, we got to share our stories, and Dr. Meehan has actually started fundraising for the lawsuit that Kimberly is bringing forth, and I'm trying to bring forth as well. So not only did they do that to my daughter, but after 9 days of signing the first exemption, they came up with the reason that I had to sign the second exemption, which was not state of Iowa certified. It was like an Ankeny, probably Google Docs page that they wrote up that made me sign. And no one else in the district had to sign that document, only me. And so I put 2 and 2 together and we started protesting March 23rd. So that's around 7 days later, I signed that first exemption. And then we kept protesting, we kept speaking before the board, and we started to become not very liked, we'll just say that. And they started to take it out on our children, which is so wrong. So after we spoke, we said that it is our goal to unmask every child who needs to be unmasked. I believe in my heart it's every child, but I'm not going to tell parents what to do. If they have their reason for masking their child, that is their business. But do not force us to mask our children. It is medical tyranny. It's wrong. It is so wrong. And these schools have usurped the role of parents. And so we have been speaking out since, March 23rd, and we're going to continue, and they're digging their heels in. Even after the IDPH, Iowa Department of Public Health, and the governor came out with their guidelines, what did our board say? Oh, we'll have a discussion. So that's our last chance, this Monday. So please pray for us. If you can't be there in Ankeny to support us, please pray for us, because we are up against elitists. They do not care about our kids. I am someone who wants to think goodwill about people, but they've given us every reason to understand they've exposed themselves, and they do not have goodwill towards children. It is disgusting. They need to be voted out, recalled, whatever it may be. And they've also kept us from speaking before the board, only one at a time. So we gathered, about 20 to 30 of us or so? And only one at a time were we allowed to go in. The social justice groups, they could all go in. The activities groups, they could all go in. They tell us one at a time. And we have a security person right there to let you in one at a time. And the last time I spoke, I went in with the mask, and I removed it to speak, because I was 10 feet away from everyone, and I thought, this is about health, I'm good to go, right? I have to remove my mask, because I can't speak without my mask. And so they're saying, no, put your mask back on. I said, no, I'm not going to put my mask back on. I'm fine, I have a medical exemption, I'm good to go. They're like, no, you need to put your mask back on, or you're done here. I said, no, and they cut my feed, and they walked out, and I videotaped them walking out. And as they walked out, they removed their masks. Yep, we do.
And so that exact thing happened to me.
So let me just stop it there for a second. Just to kind of give us a break. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, share. Remember, I want you to help these women. The Facebook page is Freedom Over Fear, Unmasked Children, and their Venmo is Freedom Over Fear, all one world. This is Kimberly Ricks, and Emily is who you're about to hear speak. Now let's just talk about that. They all just take their masks off as they walk away. After all, they're superior to us. And here's the thing. And one of the things that really upsets me about this, the children in many of these cases are being awarded with mask-free time if they behave. Now, I want to just share the implications of what that truly means. It certainly has nothing to do with science, right? Because if you're giving one child mask-free time for a certain amount, you should always give another child that same amount of time. You should not be basing decisions on children's health on how they behave. But you see what this is about. This is about control. This is about abuse. This is about abusing you when you stand up. This is disgusting. This is disturbing. And it needs to be put on blast. And again, if you are in that Ankeny, Iowa area, tomorrow is their school board meeting and they need your help. Now, as bad as that story is, this next woman's story and her child and plexiglass and tears are just beyond horrific, in my opinion.
2 weeks prior to that, the day after we got back from Tulsa, we went up against the school board. It was on the 19th we were able to speak. That on April 5th, we were in there speaking a few weeks prior to that. I had no mask on April 5th. They had no problem. They were sitting there. They were talking to us. They let me speak my 3 minutes, 6 feet apart, whatever, no problem. We go to Tulsa. We come back after I announced that I was suing the Ankeny School District. That's when they told me that when I walked in there with my little daughter, right here, Olivia, standing next to my side, I walked in there with my mask on because I knew they wouldn't let me in there if I didn't have it on. So I walked in there. I was 6 feet away from everybody, took my mask off. They said, Kim, either you put it on or you're getting escorted out. I'm like, that's okay. You can escort me out. That's fine. I don't mind. And so they did. They cut the live feed on me too. I have it recorded what I said to them. I did not pick it up to watch them walk out as my little girl here was like, Mom, what's going on? And she's almost in tears because she's scared of what's happening. I said, honey, it's okay. I'm right here. They're just mad because I won't put my mask on. And I refuse to do it because the very mask that they're forcing our kids to wear caused my daughter a staph infection on her face 4 times. 4 times. We went to 2 different doctors, and because we couldn't keep the mask off long enough to let her face heal, it kept getting worse. We changed her mask 2 to 3 times a day. We changed the type of mask she was wearing. We tried everything to get her healed, but we couldn't. So when we went to her school and we said, okay, the doctor now gave us a medical exemption. We have to get it off because if we don't, it's going to cause her more health issues than COVID ever has or ever will.
That's right.
So they gave us a medical exemption. And what the school did to my 6-year-old kindergarten daughter was horrific. They took her and they put her on the opposite side of the room to her other class. So there was a table that she was sitting at with one of her table buddies. The teacher said that she now has to sit there by herself because the table was 5 feet, not 6 feet apart. So therefore they put her on the other side. And mind you, she had a shield. So I tried everything. We even tried a face shield because I did not want her to be segregated. I did not want my little girl to be left by herself in her classroom. I'm a mom of 7, and it's hard for me to homeschool that many kids. I mean, I have a daughter that's in college, and I got a baby that's almost 1 year old. So I range pretty far in between. So 4 of my kids are in the Ankeny School District. 1 is in college, and the other 2, the other 2 are, oh my God, I keep them all again. And so it's hard, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I don't know how to homeschool very well. I mean, yeah, I can do it with Olivia. So then after they segregated her, we went up against the board on March 24th, on the 24th, the very next day after we went to the board the very first time, they retaliated against Olivia again. They took her to the principal's office because she didn't want to wear her face shield. She didn't want to wear her mask that day. They said, well, we think she is retaliating. She's making her stand. I'm like, she's 6 years old. She doesn't know what that is, how to do it, anything. So they took her to the office, the principal's office that morning. Kept her in there all morning, made her eat lunch in there, and then put the plexiglass, moved her desk in the classroom, put the plexiglass around her desk, and then brought her back out to her classroom and said, you are to sit here, you cannot move, you are not to talk to anybody, and nobody can come near you. So my daughter did, she sat there. She came home crying that day, said, Mom, they didn't make me wear my mask, but I had to be put behind this thing, and she went like this. She's like, I had to go, it was like this big, and I could see through it, but nobody can come near me. And she's like, Mom, I don't know what that is. And I knew exactly what that was. I knew exactly that they put that plexiglass on my child, because they had discussed it before. And I said, do not put that plexiglass on my child, because that will make her feel absolutely horrible. We are not going to do this. So we thought they were going to dismiss it and never going to bring it back up. Because she had once before did not want to wear her shield or her mask. And all they did was they called me and said, hey Kim, we're having some issues with Olivia. Do you want to talk to her? You want to pick her up? Whatever it may be. I said, okay. You know, I talked to her, she put her shield on, things are fine. The next time she did it, I just picked her up. I'm like, I'm not doing it today, I'll pick her up. But then, like I said, they put her behind that plexiglass. I called the school principal that afternoon. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, well, we had to do this because we thought you knew that if she didn't wear her shield, her mask or her shield, that this is the only other option we have. And we can't keep calling you every day to pick up Olivia. Or we don't have room to accommodate her in the office. So I was like, okay. I'm like, if this is what you're going to do, at least let me come in and see what's going on. Let me see in the classroom or myself where you're putting her, what are you doing, or send me a picture. She's like, well, we can't have you come in because of COVID. You can't have parents come in. I'm like, I'll wear a hazmat suit if I have to. That's exactly what I said to her. I'm like, I will wear a hazmat suit if I have to come in there to see where you're putting my child. She's like, no, we can't do that. She's like, let me see if I can get you a picture. And I was like, okay, send me a picture, that's fine. So I sent Olivia the next day on Wednesday to school, and I asked Olivia when she took her shield so she didn't have to sit behind the plexiglass. So that afternoon I texted the teacher and said, hey, can you send me a picture? She's like, no, I'm hesitant to do that because the last one you sent, you put that one on social media, and we don't want this on social media. I'm like, of course you don't. You don't want everybody to see what you're doing. And I told her, I'm like, that's exactly what's going to happen. I will put this picture on social media to show everybody what you're doing to little kindergartners. Not to mention the older kids. So that afternoon, Emily, bless her heart, she called one of our,
Jake Chapman,
one of our state representatives, and he called me, and he's like, Kim, tell me your story. I told it to him, he's like, let me call the Department of Education and see what we can do. We will get you in there, or they will send you a picture as soon as we can. I said, okay, let's do this. So the very next day, on Thursday, I still didn't get anything from the school, so I didn't send Olivia to school. Like, I'm not sending my child somewhere where I don't know if she is safe. Right? So I didn't send her to school. So I called the principal again on Thursday. I said, hey, can I come in? Can you send me a picture? She's like, nope, can't do it. Well, that afternoon by 2 o'clock, she called me back and she's like, you have at 4 o'clock to come in here. You have 15 minutes. You have to wear a mask and we'll show you where it is. I'm like, okay, I'll be there. And so I made arrangements to watch my other kids. And she's like, is only you and your husband can come? I'm like, that's fine. Made arrangements, we went in, they took the plexiglass down and they moved her desk back where it was. Oh, yeah. Wow. And so I was just like, are you crazy? Like, yeah. So then my oldest child, my 17-year-old, she's a junior, she said, Mom, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to stand up for Olivia. So she started wearing her mask under her nose at school, which she didn't want to take it completely off because she knows what kind of things that they would say and do to her. Her classmates say, you're going to kill grandma, whatever it may be. They just harass you. So she just wore it under her nose. Well, there's one teacher in particular, a sociology teacher, kicked her out of class 7 times. 7 times. Because she had it underneath the nose. But the irony in this is that the Ankeny School District, if you go to their website on their like Facebook or even online, they have a video, and it's to the I think it's a Teacher Appreciation Day. On that video that they made, it shows 3 kids in that video standing next to teachers with masks under their nose. But they kicked my kids out, and the reason they kicked my kids out is because I'm standing here today telling everybody what's happening. And they do not like our voices, they do not like me talking, they do not want me speaking out against it. But I told them I have nothing to lose except for my kids' freedom. And I'm gonna stand here and I wanna tell my kids someday that, you know what? I'm here to make a difference, and I don't want them to know, I don't want them to think that I didn't stand up for them, and I'm not fighting for them.
That's right.
And there it is. So look, you take a good look at these women, you know, because they're standing up to a very, very corrupt system that very few people are standing up to. So I'm going to say it again. This is their Venmo. Freedom over fear. Freedom over fear. Unmask the children. That is their Facebook group. I want to give the location, and you're going to be able to find out everything about this over there. Tomorrow, they're confronting the school board. Once again, I'm going to be having them on afterwards. It is 306 Southwest School Street, Ankeny, Iowa. Emily and Kimberly. I mean, what else do you say? Like I said, I'm not really looking for you to support me on this video. The way you can support me on this video is by sharing the video, making the free Rockfin account, right? Watching videos over on Rockfin, sharing that platform. And if you do want to financially support me, right, you can make the premium membership and get everybody's stuff. But especially on this video, go financially support these women, or better yet, if by some chance you can physically be there for them, that is extremely important. We need to document all this stuff. People, you know, they don't get it. They don't get it. And they live in their own little bubble, and they don't understand what they're doing to kids, man. What they're doing to kids, what's happening to our society, because they are training a generation of slaves right now, of obedient slaves who are having problems thinking for themselves because the normalcy that used to be around them socially, whether it be with their friends, with their education, or even their family, has been shattered by this. Guys, remember, it is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. I love you. And one more time, support those women, because they need your thoughts, your prayers, your finances, and your action. I'll see you on the flip.